Why are gay and lesbian separate when they mean the same thing? In 12th century England, gay meant joyful, carefree, or showy. Around the 17th century, the word began to mean addicted to pleasure, to live an immoral life, as an evolution of the carefree part of the original meaning. In the 19th century, gay came to refer to female prostitutes, and gay men were men who slept with a lot of women, typically prostitutes. In the 1920s and 30s, gay men came to mean a man who slept with a lot of people, regardless of gender. In the 50s the word finally evolved to what we know of it now. This was thought to be mostly pushed by gay men who felt the term homosexual to be too clinical, sounding like a disorder. The term lesbian derives from the Greek island of Lesbos, home to the 6th century BCE poet Sappho, who wrote about her love of women and the beauty of women. Until the 19th century, lesbian would refer to any aspect of the island of Lesbos, including a type of wine. In 1890, the term was first used in a medical journal to describe sexual relations between two women, and by 1925 the word as a way of describing homosexual women had become commonplace and was recorded in a medical journal as a noun to mean the female equivalent of a sodomite. So, the words simply come from different origins, and medical journals felt the need to differentiate the two, most likely because for a long time, homosexual men were seen as a bigger threat than homosexual women. Some even thought that homosexual women were a third gender because people couldn't accept that a woman would abandon her role in society at the time. Since then though, gay has become more broad to include male and female homosexuals. But still the words gay and lesbian are used to differentiate the two occasionally. I hope this helped. Gay encompasses homosexuality in general. It can be used for men and women. Lesbian is for women specifically. It comes from the name of the island of Lesbos. I don't remember the full history, but it was, I believe, an island mostly populated by, and possibly governed by, women. The terms came up at different times. There are completely different cultural contexts around the experiences of lesbians and gay men. Homosexual is more analogous to meaning the same thing. Gay is one of those semi-gendered terms, sort of like the pronoun guy. In a vacuum, a guy is generally a masculine person, boy or man, but it's very common to refer to a group of men and women as you guys, or even for one woman to address a group of exclusively women as hey guys, or what do you guys want, etc. My vague memory is that the word girl worked that way in the 1700s. Generally feminine, but could sometimes be applied to masculine children as well, especially in groups. In that same sense, gay can be a categorical term for both male and female, et al. Homosexuals, but it can also be used as the masculine equivalent of lesbian to denote male homosexuals. Specifically, a man loving only other men and a woman loving only other women have different connotations in our society. Should we have separate words for those experiences? For example, the experience of a homosexual man and a homosexual woman are going to be completely different, despite the fact they are both homosexual and will encounter homophobia. The homophobia lesbians experience, lesbophobia, is incredibly intertwined with misogyny and the anger, confusion society has when women don't care about men. This is not to say that homophobia lesbians experience is worse. The trauma Olympics of who has it worst has never and will never be productive in this kind of conversations, but different enough that there should be separate terms so those nuances can be discussed. Gay means attracted to the same gender, or a man who is attracted to men. Lesbian means a woman who is attracted to women. So a lesbian can be gay but a gay man is not lesbian. Probably because although gay men and lesbian women are both homosexuality, they are two separate Groups of people that each have their own unique cultures and separate communities, and they do not identify with one another. They do, however, still have enough wherewithal to recognize that they are both fighting the same ignorance as are all the non-cisgendered communities, so they try to work together where appropriate to fight for equal rights and recognition. It doesn't mean the same thing. Homosexual is the same thing. For example, gay can be used for all members of the LGBT community, but lesbian can't. As a lesbian, it's good to have the distinction, too. There's lots of lesbian culture that is specific to us, so having our own word is pretty essential. The experience of being a lesbian is different than the experience of being gay. I always thought the reason for homosexual women being called lesbian was because the term gay is more commonly associated with homosexual men, and homosexual women were looking for a way to differentiate themselves and be acknowledged as well. So they coined the term lesbian. I could be completely wrong, but that is what I have heard. People are posting more complicated answers, but the basic is, it's the same reason we use husband and wife instead of spouse to be specific. Homosexual would be a more ambiguous term. If somebody on Reddit posts me and my partner are homosexuals, you'd know right away that they're the same sex. But which one? There comes gay, lesbian to the rescue. Although people do use gay for both men and women, as lesbian is a fairly newer word. Also, maybe because it's a male-dominated society. JK. My daughter just recently asked me the same exact thing. My other daughter answered because gay means men like men and lesbian means girls like girls. I said, well, gay in general simply means liking the same gender. I always say gay no matter who I'm referring to. LMAO. He's gay. She's gay. I'm gay. We're all gay. Why are red and read spelled the same? Why do we say TV and Brits say telly? Why is a hat called a hat? Language, especially English, isn't something someone sat down and logicked out. It evolves with people and cultures. It's always possible different terms will pop up and popularize, or they may never. Think of how cis suddenly became a word everyone knew a few years ago. It's subject to the whims of the people, and certainly there are characteristics to words, timing, place, and how they spread that determine popularity. But it's ultimately down to what each person chooses to say. Like a meme going viral. I haven't seen this mentioned, but the term lesbian was made and used more commonly before gay was used instead of homosexual. The word lesbian was created in 1890. Homosexual men adopted the word gay around the 1960s. Basically to separate man and woman. Why it would be necessary, but it is apparently semantics and personal preference. A lesbian is a female person who is gay, and can be called either lesbian or gay. Gay is an overall umbrella for an LGBT person. Interestingly, one of the first gay women I knew hated the term lesbian. I'm lesbian, but I just don't like the word. I call myself a gay woman. This certainly isn't the only reason, but at least part of this is because so much of the early gay rights movement was focused on men, and tended to ignore issues facing homosexual women. The move towards gay and lesbian was a way to explicitly include women in the movement and make sure issues they cared about were addressed.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.